Hi, I'm Scott Borden, CBiz's consumer-driven healthcare consultant, also known as HSA guy. Today I'm here with Mitch Case with More Than a Meal, and we're going to be talking about a very unique employee benefit that's available here in the Midwest. Mitch, say hi.
Hello. Thanks for having me, Scott.
No problem. Glad to be here. And by the way, I love your shirt.
Yeah, I love yours too. Can't believe we ended up wearing the same thing on the same day.
Who would have thought? So let's start with More Than a Meal. Mitch, tell our watchers exactly what that is.
Yeah, I'll first start with a little bit of my background. So I spent about 9.5 years as a mechanical engineer, kind of gravitated towards the sales side of things and was very blessed to have a fortunate career. But as I started adding kiddos to my family, priorities kind of switched and changed, and I was really looking for something different to create. And fortunately, through my wife and I's experience, I guess kind of technically, unfortunately, through my wife and I's experience, we recognized how important food was immediately after having a newborn, and even more so down the road. Because of my wife's challenges with that birth, from preeclampsia to a C-section, we really found that the meals that were brought to us 4 or 5 months down the road were almost more impactful than those immediately. And what we had just decided was, hey, we have the ability to go out and use the gifts that we've been given to go and serve our community well. So we started a small side hustle company, sent out meals for over 2 years, did about 300 of those over those 2 years. And what was really interesting when we stopped and looked at the data when the pandemic hit, over 70% of our orders were coming from businesses buying for their employees and clients. So that was kind of the idea of, maybe this isn't necessarily a B2C play. This is actually something that businesses can really benefit from an engagement and attraction and retention standpoint. So we flipped the script. We rebranded as More Than a Meal and started putting together larger business packages, and the business kind of just grew and flourished from there. And I ultimately ended up leaving my engineering career at the end of 2020 to go full-time into More Than a Meal to see and make this thing work. So we're almost a little over 2 years in right now.
You know, there's a phrase out there, living the dream, that a lot of people just nonchalantly throw out there. Mitch, you're truly doing that. You've left the 9 to 5, left the steady paycheck, and said, you know what, we're going to make this work. And what a time frame, right in front of the pandemic, during the pandemic, to have something in place that can be so impactful for families, where they can say, wait a second, restaurants are closing down all over the place. I can't even go to a grocery store. Is it safe? I don't know.
We were washing our groceries at that point.
Wow. Wow.
It's funny to think how long ago that was.
You just didn't know at that point in time. So you were positioned very well for something that will tragically hit the world, not just the United States.
Right.
And you've turned that, though, into a way to reposition and bless companies and employees in a way that I don't think a lot of people really think about.
No, and the way that I've built this company has really been based around our customers and how they're using it. I would love to say that I was smart enough to think about all of this. This was clearly higher power trusting in the direction that we were going, and I've just allowed the business to navigate through that. So from being a B2C company to switching to more of a B2B approach, to sending one-off meals, and now employee retention plans and recurring meals, like the entire business has just been built around what our customers have asked for as they are going through these different scenarios. And I think that's probably one of the best ways that we have been successful in that, is just letting the business tell us what it needs.
So describe to me what a meal kit would look like. In other words, is it just ingredients where good luck, or is there a menu, a recipe that's included with it?
I'll tell you, it used to be, here's the ingredients, good luck, when we first got started. I had a friend of mine once told me that if you aren't absolutely embarrassed by what you put out the door day one, you waited too long to get started. And that continuously rings through my ears in the sense of, from our marketing perspective, from a LinkedIn perspective, to all the way down to our meals. Fortunately, we've come a long ways. So what it kind of looks like is, it's more of an experience. We really talk about selling the more than side than just the food. Of course, the food is going to come along for the ride. It's got to be good. And it is. We have awesome reviews on it. It's all really simple. But what you are receiving as an employee or a client of an organization is going to be this experience. When that box shows up on your doorstep, directly to your doorstep, you're going to open that up. There's going to be a personal note. There might be some video messaging, some branding inside of it that can really personalize and make it more of an authentic feel versus here's a box of groceries. So when you open that up, you're going to feel that love, that care, and then inside of that, we've gone ahead and pre-chopped, pre-measured everything. It all gets thrown into a slow cooker or a pressure cooker. So the goal is to really allow more time for you as an individual, with your family, with your friends, not sitting in the kitchen, and then gathering around the dinner table, where we have shown that it is proven that you can reduce stress and anxiety by being around a dinner table with those individuals that you care most about. And that's when we start talking about holistic health versus just healthy meals.
I've seen the statistics about how few people actually have a home cooked meal, and I don't know what they are. You probably know what they are. It's abysmal as far as how many people and the family growing together, eating together, preparing together in a method that's healthy. I mean, they're getting healthy options here compared to a lot of times what you get.
Healthy alternatives, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All the processed foods that you typically have, that the people get at fast food, no offense to fast food restaurants, but
We appreciate you when we need you.
yeah, there are times,
Yes.
but overall, a lot of people don't know the healthy options and what we do to our bodies, longevity, taking care of ourselves is so important.
Yeah.
So I think you're not only the morale you talk about, but also there's so many side effects, good side effects
Yeah.
of providing this type of a meal.
We've seen it over and over again as far as just the genuine appreciation of when we see meals getting delivered to, and I'll say, like, not every single meal that we have is healthy. I mean, there's going to be some that you're going to eat your feelings. However, it is a healthy alternative to grabbing a burger from this place to that place. But what we typically get is the appreciation and gratitude of time
Yeah.
sitting here. What we have seen as our culture is just very go. Oftentimes we'll try and skip eating, and when I say skip eating, it's not literally skip eating, but how can we shove food down our throats as fast as we possibly can so we can keep going and doing what we're doing. I'm guilty of it as well, and I own this company. But what we have seen is that the appreciation is actually slowing us down. And I had a friend of mine say that you're kind of recreating the pandemic in a sense of it slowed all of us down and we recognized what was most important for us. And so our meals are really intended, again, not to fit in with that busy schedule, but almost slow you down and force you to slow down to where you can sit around that table, be in community together, even if you're running from one soccer practice to the next basketball game, just for a family to be together for that short amount of time, that can really, really make a solid foundation.
That's awesome. I mean, we've all received company gifts that show up at your house. Some of them are really nice, but others are like, really? What am I going to do with this? I think every employee eats, don't they?
Everyone that I've checked on so far, yes.
I'd have to check those statistics, but I think we're pretty safe on that one. But to receive that kind of a benefit that every employee will be able to use, that is something. Now, let's talk about let's get into weeds a little bit if you don't mind.
Yeah.
What is a typical size of a company that this makes sense for? Is it for every employee? Holidays that you really seen? And then also, if you don't mind, let's talk about the cost.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So typically when we're working with organizations, we have a handful of different ways that we serve our clients. So one is more of your reoccurring side. We always kind of call that the employee benefits side. And then we also have the engagement side, which is the one-off meals that you'd want to send because somebody went through a positive life event or a negative life event. And so when you're kind of looking at that, you can have those repeated meals coming to your doorsteps, whether that's just because an employer wants to offer that and invest in not only the employee, but the employee's family, or just kind of being there to love on those individuals if and when those moments happen. As far as costs will go, so our family meal kits are going to run anywhere between $55 to $70 from a retail perspective. Now, you're going to feed up to 5 adults.
Wait a second. Let's put because
we don't have eggs.
A dozen eggs are like $5 a dozen.
I knew
right
it was
now.
going there.
And it's like, oh my gosh, you can't. I think my wife went to the grocery store yesterday, and she said, "Well, I spent $200 and I don't feel like I bought anything."
Yeah.
And I still had to go back to another grocery store to finish up because there were some things that she didn't get.
It's interesting you say that. So we always talk about some of the different benefits of sending the food and everything. And with some of our employee benefit offers, we can actually work with organizations that will help subsidize the cost of our meal kits for employees, and then that employee can choose to opt in, and whatever that remaining amount is that employee is willing to cover, it's picked up by the rest of the company. And what we've seen is if organizations are willing to subsidize up to 30% or more, they can actually reduce the cost of our meal kits less than the price of groceries. And now you're having win-win. I think there's another win in there somewhere, but you're helping where most of us consumers are feeling it the most, which is the grocery store and the gas tank.
Right.
While at the same time offering a pretty low employee benefit for an organization from $15 to $20 per employee per month.
Wow. And then what size employers have you engaged with so far? And then what's your vision? And we really want to talk more about your vision. But where are you now, and then where do you foresee this going?
Yeah, I mean, so we work with some organizations that have several thousand employees, and what I see those organizations utilize our meals the most with is more of the engagement packages, the one-off scenarios, because that's going to be more repeatable, as often more repeatable. But what we are seeing with some of our smaller organizations, 100 and less employees, we start seeing them opting into these monthly reoccurring meal kits, whether that is we just want to put food on the table for you and your family, to milestones, work anniversaries, birthdays, those automatic dates in time that we can quickly release a meal and have it automated for the organization so they don't have to do a whole lot of admin work.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So your vision for the future, where do you see, well, let's back up a second. What geographic locations can you provide food to now? And then where do you see that going? And then also the long-term business plan.
Yeah, so currently we serve in 5 states. So we have Missouri, Kansas, Iowa, Eastern Nebraska, and Oklahoma City, Tulsa, kind of right along that I-35 line.
So all of Kansas, all of Missouri.
All of Kansas, all of Missouri, all of Iowa.
Do you know Kansas goes pretty far out there, and it's
It gets pretty flat out there.
Yes.
Yes. We can make it out there. Previously, I used to drive these meals myself and drop them off, and that was a huge goal for us to get away from at the beginning of 2022, so we were able to do that. But yeah, so all of Missouri, all of Kansas, all of Iowa, Eastern Nebraska, which is really up to kind of Omaha and Lincoln area, and then down to Tulsa and Oklahoma City.
That's amazing. And then your future goals as far as expansion and footprint of the company, hiring, where you're going, because that's where us here at CBiz, we can help companies. We love helping people live the American dream. And this is the epitome of the American dream right here. I love what you're doing. That's why when I found you on LinkedIn, saw what you're doing, go ahead and put a plug in for your basketball too if you want.
Yeah, we had record numbers this morning. So I run a group called Pick Up KC here in Kansas City. We get together Friday mornings from 6:30 to 7:30 a.m. Come out, network, and socialize first. We just happen to play basketball. Knees hurt afterwards. I shoot 5%, but I've never not walked away from that thinking that was awesome. And it also comes into that benefit side of what we're talking about right now, is because the individuals that come out and play, we see that they are more efficient, more effective, healthier individuals by coming out and playing. Not to mention the networking and social to build teams and stuff.
So yeah, this is still Friday morning, and you've got 6 miles in so far today. So
that's right,
obviously that's working there. So, that's awesome to hear. So your long-term vision for More Than a Meal, and by the way, we will put links down here to make sure that you can find the company to Mitch here.
Awesome.
So how do you see a growth pattern? Do you want how many new companies can you take on?
Yeah.
What is the vision? I think in a previous conversation you talked about having almost mobile kitchens are going to be available. That just blew me away. It's like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah, when you get minds together and collaborate, you can come up with some pretty creative things. As far as overall goals for a company, like I am always big vision up in the cloud, so sometimes I have to bring myself back down. But ultimately, we want to reach a nationwide scenario, and technically we can. However, there's additional shipping charges that come in, and sometimes it doesn't make financial sense to make that sort of investment. So what we need to do to be able to do that is add more kitchens throughout. So we've talked the franchising model. We've talked opening up our own kitchens. One of the challenges that we always have with is when we go and talk to like a ghost kitchen to be able to utilize their kitchen, we have to pay for the whole kitchen.
Yeah.
And we might only utilize literally 20% of it because we don't cook. So I don't need fire suppression, exhaust, all that kind of stuff. I just need a prep table, some space to package some meals, and a sink to make sure we get everything clean. But unfortunately, we have to pay for all of it. So
Right.
as you kind of alluded to earlier, we found an organization in Wichita that we're talking in partnerships right now on how they can create some mobile kitchens specifically to us that we can purchase, so that if and when we start delivering to Denver or Dallas or Memphis or Nashville, we can actually bring that kitchen into that location, build our book of business in that location, and then once we have it established, find a brick and mortar to set up in ourselves, pick that kitchen up and go to the next city because we own that. So those are some of the ideas. Nothing is written down in stone whatsoever, so we'll see.
Well, that's the fun of small business, and you'll try certain things, and some of them will work and some of them won't, and you'll learn from it, and then you just continue to grow. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And we've got lots of services that we look forward to working with you as you continue to grow. By the way, there's a new technology, if you're not aware of it yet, ChatGPT, artificial intelligence. It's here. And so as a little one-off, I said, all right, let's ask ChatGPT what exactly employer, let's see.
By the way, I was just introduced to this about 30, 40 minutes ago, and my mind is still reeling right now.
So we asked ChatGPT, why should employers give employees meals at home as an employee benefit? And it took how many seconds for this to come up, maybe?
You know, it really took about a total of 10 seconds, so it must have taken a while.
So I'll probably cut and paste this at the bottom of it also. Employers should consider offering meals at home as an employee benefit for several reasons. Number one, increased productivity. And it goes into detail about employees' meals at home increase their productivity by reducing time and energy they spend, and so on and so forth. Employee morale boost. Instead of providing benefits that might cost substantially more than this that aren't usable, these are going to be usable benefits.
Absolutely.
Cost savings. So let's talk about cost savings.
Yeah.
I mean, grocery stores can be kind of expensive. We get that. But overall, you're prepping them. It has to go into a refrigerator and then be shipped somewhere, shipping costs, so on and so forth. Why would it say cost savings, and how would you interpret that?
Yeah, I mean, oftentimes we get tossed into the grocery side and, hey, these are expensive. It's $55, $70. It comes out to $11 to $14 per plate once it's all said and done.
That's pretty good, though. That's very good.
We could argue over and over again on how much we're spending outside of the house at restaurants and fast food joints. But the real cost savings really comes back to why the employer is sending this in the first place, which is retention and attraction. So how are we getting new talent in so we don't have to spend as much on recruiting, and how can we reduce that turnover rate so that we're not spending money on new employees and lost costs on that.
So the Great Resignation everyone talked about, it was the big buzzword last year. And we don't know what's going on with the rising inflation rates, interest rates going up. So being able to hang on to key employees, one thing, it's not like you can continue to throw more money at employees, but if you can provide key strategic benefits that are appreciated, showing true appreciation to employees is so much more valuable than maybe adding another $10 a week or whatever their paycheck.
And what I want to add to that is the focus on the employee's most valued relationship, which is more often than not, if they have family, is going to be their family. And so when organizations are willing to, you can go to a lot of organizations and they'll bring lunch in, and that's all fine and dandy and amazing for the employee. But let's talk about how we can make sure that employee is at home, because if we can make that a valued relationship and a core valued piece of whether it's the organization or that family, it's really hard for that employee to be mad, angry, while their employer is really saying, hey, get out of the office, go home, dinner's on us.
Wow, I love that. So the cost savings might not be visible initially up front, but if you dig, there's an enormous potential cost savings there for employers. Yeah. Number 4, healthy eating. People don't eat healthy today. That's a big problem. Number 5, increased employee retention, and that goes back to cost savings.
Yeah.
Overall, offering meals at home as an employee benefit can have a positive impact on employee productivity, morale, and overall well-being, which can lead to a more engaged and loyal workforce. I don't think I could have written that. Could you
I
have written that
could
any
not
better
have
yourself?
said that any better myself. Like I'm sitting there thinking, like,
Mind
oh,
blown.
it's amazing how well that's done.
ChatGPT, if you haven't investigated that yet, I highly recommend you do.
Yeah.
This is amazing technology, a little scary, but what it can do is amazing. But I love what you're doing. Mitch, your company, I think, has enormous upside potential. You were positioned very well as the rest of the world kind of turned into now what? It's like, hey, look at this opportunity, and then moving to the B2B side of it, I think your upside is potential. If you have questions, what's the website?
The website is morethanAmealco.com. You can also message me on LinkedIn or find us on our website and get some information that way.
And I will put links down below on that. So, Mitch, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Is there a football game this weekend? I don't know.
What's football?
I don't know. Maybe there is. All right. Look forward to interviewing some other influencers here at CBiz, and we have lots of services we can help, from tax prep, human capital management, employee benefits. There's ways we can help an employer grow from where you are to the 50 plus, the Affordable Care Act, all these issues and then tax concerns that employers have as they continue to grow. And we're passionate about helping them. So,
Some good people here.
all right, Mitch, appreciate it. Look
Thank
forward
you.
to 2023. Let's make it happen.
Yes. Thank you, Scott.
Take care.